to my channel. My name is Erica. And in today's video, I'm just going to be sitting down here and chatting with you guys about getting started in makeup. Now, I mentioned a couple videos back that obviously as a creator, I do have access to my YouTube studio. And one of the features that they give you in your YouTube studio is some ideas about videos to film based on what people are watching that are also watching your channel, if that makes any sense. And one of the ideas that they gave me was to film a tutorial for beginners in makeup. Now, I am not a professional makeup artist, not even close to that. And so I don't know that I'm really qualified to do a tutorial of how to apply your makeup for beginners. I know that I do a ton of videos where I'm applying my makeup, but I'm really not doing it because I think that's how you should apply your makeup, or I'm showing you the best way to apply your makeup. I just love to put on makeup and have fun. I don't expect anybody to recreate any of the looks that I've ever done. So I don't know. I felt like, I don't know that I want to do a tutorial. I don't know. But I did want to talk to you guys about getting started in makeup, because it can be overwhelming. It can be intimidating. It's hard to know exactly where to start. I know I kind of felt like that when I first got into makeup. And even now, after being really into makeup for the last probably 5 years, there are still things that intimidate me and overwhelm me. So I don't know, I just wanted to talk about how I got started and maybe some tips or ideas or suggestions of things that I think might work for you if you're just getting started in makeup. And they may not work for you. Like I mentioned, I'm not an expert. So take what I'm saying to you with a huge grain of salt and realize that we're all different. We all have different preferences and different ways that we look at makeup. I did write 10 things down here on this little cheat sheet so I wouldn't forget anything that I want to discuss with you in terms of getting started in makeup. So let's start with number 1. That's a great place to start. What is your aesthetic? Now, what does that even mean, right? Because I hear people say, well, that's not my aesthetic, or this is my aesthetic. I've even said that before. And basically what I'm referring to when I talk about what my aesthetic is, or what is your aesthetic, what kind of color scheme are you into? But at the same time, you also have to be aware that colorful eyeshadows initially, when you first get started, if you don't have any experience in makeup, can be a lot harder to manipulate than more neutral palettes. So I would say that starting off with a more neutral aesthetic is easier and just maybe less overwhelming and less intimidating than colorful eyeshadow palettes, colorful eyeliners, mascaras, blushes, that sort of thing. And one of the things I was going to encourage you guys to do is maybe go into your closet and look at the colors of the clothes that you wear and maybe try to kind of like match the eyeshadow palettes and blush and stuff to your clothing. But then I was thinking, well, if people have very colorful closets, that might be hard to do. So I don't know, take that suggestion with a huge grain of salt, because that might not be helpful to you at all. But I would say just focusing on neutral aesthetic at first. Tone down palettes, tone down blushes, nothing super bright or vibrant or over the top. Just those things that you can start using, that you can manipulate easily, and that aren't super jarring or shocking to put on your face. You know what I mean? I think that was something that it took me a long time to get used to, was using colorful eyeshadow palettes and not being shocked about how they looked on my lids. That took me quite a while. And I've gotten to where I love blue eyeshadows, where they used to scare me. I'm getting better at pinks. But I wouldn't start off by using products that intimidate or overwhelm or scare you. If you're like, I don't want to use that, don't use it. Find something else that you feel a lot more comfortable using. It's a great thing to do too, to go into Ulta and ask their sales representatives, or I don't know exactly what they refer to themselves as, but the people that work there, go ask them for suggestions. Tell them, I'm just getting started in makeup. I really don't want all the bells and whistles. I just want like some staples here that you think are great, tried and true, that you think I might like, which how are they going to know if you like it or not? They've never met you before. So I understand how that sounds. But they have a lot more experience with makeup than a beginner would, right? So I think that's a great place to start. Go to Sephora, ask them for help. If there's a MAC makeup counter in your town, there is one here, go and ask them for suggestions. If you know of any of your friends, family members that are really into makeup, ask them some questions about what they prefer to use and ask them how they got started. Watch beginner tutorials here on YouTube, just not mine, because I don't think I'm ever going to do one. And just look at what they're using and look at how they're applying it. But I just really want to advise you to not just jump into the deep end right away. Start off with more neutral makeup, just less intimidating shades, and just kind of build from that. But to just get your feet wet at first, I think less is more, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that too here in just a minute. Number 2, makeup costs money, which I know that sounds really stupid, but it's really easy to spend more money than is necessary, I think, on makeup at first, especially if you're watching a ton of YouTube videos. That can be very tricky. And I know that I fell down the rabbit hole of buying a ton of makeup when I first got into makeup. I mean, if you look behind me, there's tons of eyeshadow palettes, and not all of those I purchased since I started my channel. A lot of those I purchased before I started my channel. And I have, this drawer set over here that's full of makeup and a drawer set over there that's full of makeup. I have a ton of makeup. I have too much makeup. I know that. And I don't think you need to start off by having tons and tons of makeup and spending tons and tons of money. What I would do, like I just mentioned, is start off with the staples. Go ask for help at a cosmetics store. Get a few things, and also you got to decide, are you a light coverage makeup person, a full coverage makeup person? You may not know which one you are. So getting a couple different products, couple different, coverages, for foundations, maybe a couple different blush tones, couple different little palettes, couple different eyeliners, a couple things so that you have like a good kit to start off with. But you really do not need to go ham buying tons of makeup at the very beginning. And I think what can be hard or difficult, I guess it's the same thing, about watching a lot of YouTube videos at first is that a lot of the creators that you're going to be watching have huge collections, especially if you're watching like collection type videos and you're seeing someone that has 200 foundations and you're thinking, well, I'm going to go get 200 foundations. Nope, slow down. Because the 200 foundation collection, you have to remember people have amassed that over probably, a significant amount of time. Maybe not always, but usually I would say. I didn't get all this makeup in the first week that I got into makeup. This has been years of building my collection. And, I don't know how open people are about really expressing the fact that it's taken them a long time to get these large collections. So in terms of spending money on makeup, what I would do is set a makeup budget, a reasonable makeup budget every month or every week, however you want to do it, and try to stick to it as well as you can. And also understand that, yes, there are some amazing high-end brands. There are. I don't really use high-end makeup at all, but there are some amazing high-end brands. However, their prices are pretty high. And if you're just getting started in makeup, I don't know that you necessarily need to go the high-end route right away. And, you can disagree with me on that. You might think, no, I want really good quality makeup. I want to buy the best, the most expensive, and that's fine. But I do want to caution you that just because something is super expensive doesn't mean that it's super great either. I have been very fortunate that I have found some very affordable makeup at the drugstore, at Ulta, obviously off different cosmetics company websites, but, things that I can afford to buy that don't break the bank for me, but that are lovely products. So, I just caution you to be mindful of how much money you're spending when you first get started. I mean, you should be mindful of it the whole time, but really just don't go overboard spending a ton of money right at first. Get to know a few products well, maybe a few brands very well at first, and then build from that. But I think makeup budgets are really wonderful to have. And I have a makeup budget and I do my very best to adhere to those budgets every month. have a monthly budget. And whatever I don't use from the month before, I do roll into the next month. And sometimes I go overboard, so I have to tone it down the next month. But it's just good to be mindful of your finances and how much you can afford, and to try to stick to a really reasonable budget for yourself. Number 3, start small and build from there. So I just kind of talked about that. You know, you have to be realistic for what makes the most sense to you and not what makes sense to all the different people you might be watching on YouTube. There's just no need to have a ton of makeup products when you first get started. Or there's no need to ever have a ton of makeup products. But as you start to use products and get more experience with them, you are probably going to want to branch out. I mean, some people just stick to the tried and true, and they're fine with that. They don't really want to try other brands. But if you're like me, you might want to try other brands, and it's really fun, especially when the products work really well. It's really fun. But I think that can, like I've talked about this already, but that can be a very dangerous and a very slippery slope for people that are just getting started out with makeup, watching YouTube videos and seeing these creators with huge collections and thinking, I want to have that. I want to have that. I felt that big time. And so, I mean, this is not me judging you for you feeling that way, because I felt that way, and I'm not judging myself. But I just think starting off with the basics, the essentials, which could be different for you than they are for me. So I'm not really going to list what I think are essentials, but just things that you really feel are the best for you, starting off small and then building from there. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Number 5, glean what makes sense. Okay, so this is in regards to YouTube. That's how I learned how to do my makeup, was watching YouTube channels, right? And at first I was like taking in everything that they would say and trying to recreate all the things I was seeing them do. And I discovered pretty quickly that a lot of the things I was hearing from them were not working for me. Not that it wasn't working for them, that's fine, let it work for them, but it just wasn't working for me. So I switched some things up. I also found other creators that were closer to my age and that were doing makeup techniques that just made sense for me, made sense for older aging skin, fine lines and wrinkles. So just keep that in mind as you're watching YouTube videos. Look at how old somebody is that's telling you how to put your makeup on or showing you how to put your makeup on. If there's a huge age difference, then I just had to learn that maybe the kids in their 20s and maybe even early 30s were not always giving me the best advice of how to apply my makeup. And there are so many different creators here on this platform, young, middle-aged, older-aged, you know, very seasoned. That's what I like to say, as I'm getting very seasoned as I age. And they, I think, are going to give you, if they're closer in age to you, they're going to give you, I believe, better makeup tips, better makeup advice, better makeup suggestions than someone that's half your age. That's just me. You might disagree with me. You may have found, you may be in your 50s, like I'm getting ready to be in, and you may watch creators that are in their 20s and you think that their advice is spot on. But for me, I just learned that some of the things they were doing just wasn't working for me. So rather than taking everything that everyone's telling you as gospel truth, glean what makes sense for you. I don't think you shouldn't try things. Absolutely. Try, experiment, and just have a blast. I'll get to the have a blast part. That's the last step here. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. Try things, but if it doesn't work, abandon ship. Just stop doing it and do something else that makes more sense for you, right? For example, I've touched on this in several videos. You know, I used to see the people doing the big, huge concealer triangles and baking their face. Neither one of those things work for me. Now I just put a couple little blops of concealer under my eye, smooth it out, we're done. And I do powder my face typically when I put makeup on, but I don't bake. But you might love the way the concealer triangles look on you, and you may love to bake and you think it looks amazing. So we're all different. That's the thing you got to remember. We're all different. But I'm just saying that if you discover that something is not working, you don't have to do it. I don't care what anybody tells you. You don't have to do it. Do what makes sense for you, what you like on your own face. Okay? Number 6, you are not a professional. I mean, you might be, but I would say most people that are just starting out in makeup, they're not professional makeup artists, right? I mean, does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense. And I think what happened with me anyway, is I was watching professional makeup artists and feeling like my makeup needed to look just like theirs. And why wasn't it looking just like theirs? Well, I don't understand. What, I suck. I'm horrible. I'm a loser. I'm a makeup loser. Not true. You're learning, and you need to give yourself a lot of grace, and you need to give yourself time and patience, and just take it slowly. Take it slow. And I do think that it is helpful to watch professional makeup artists here on this platform. Absolutely, because they're going to teach you some really awesome techniques and also provide examples that you might really want to recreate. Absolutely. But just keep in mind, they have a hell of a lot more experience than you do, right? So it may take you longer to get to their finished product, at the end when they show their finished look. It might take you longer to get to that step that you're going to look just like they do. And you may never look just like they do. And that's okay too. This isn't about being a professional. It's not. It's just about having a good time and playing, enjoying it, and really falling in love with makeup. That's how I look at it. And so, finding creators that maybe don't have a ton of experience, years and years and years of experience, might be helpful to you too. To see people learning along with you, to see people trying things along with you, experimenting along with you. That's really fun. And, I really enjoy watching creators that really don't take themselves so seriously. Like, I don't know, some people, this is their entire life is makeup. And yes, it is a very important part of my life, but it's not my life. So for me, if you're watching my videos, I hope that you see that I'm having a good time, having fun, and that if you want to put your makeup along with me, that you have fun too, And I don't, like I mentioned, I don't expect anybody to recreate any of my looks. I'm just doing this because I love it. But I would seek out people that you can tell are really enjoying what they're doing, that aren't professionals necessarily, and just, giving yourself, like I just said, a lot of patience and a lot of time to learn things. Keep learning, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and don't get frustrated or down on yourself or put yourself down, or however you want to look at it, for not being a professional, because it's okay to not be a professional. Totally okay. Number 7, I just touched on this. Learn, try, experiment. That is what is so fun about makeup. And, something might work for you one day and might not work for you the next day. And that can be intimidating or discouraging. And you're like, well, I just did this yesterday. It was fine. Try something new. Try something different. It's really fun. I do a lot of the same things when I put my makeup on. Yes, I do. And I know that. And I know that some people might think that that's boring. But I know what I like to do. And so I stick with it. And yes, I do try different things sometimes. But, I probably don't try as much as I used to try when I first got started in makeup. So, am I a great example of learn, try, experiment? I don't know. But I am trying new things as I feel it's necessary and as I want to. But there's also an aspect of comfort in makeup as well, You don't always have to learn, try, and experiment either. You can get comfortable and stay in your comfort zone and create beautiful makeup looks in your comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think both sides of the coin are wonderful. Learn, try, experiment. Also get comfortable and stay in your pocket. Do a mix of both, I would say. It's fun to do that. Number 8, do what works for you. That is so important because you're going to get all kinds of advice and all kinds of suggestions here. And what I've done, what's been really helpful for me, is I've taken suggestions from some people and let some other things that they have said go, and then taken suggestions from others and let other things that they've said or do go, And the only way that you really can figure that out is just by continuing to practice putting on your makeup. Just do it. Just keep doing it. Just keep trying, keep practicing. Keep learning how to do different things or the same things, whatever. But that's how you learn what works for you. And, I know people sometimes get very bent out of shape. They're like, well, I watched this person, they were saying this works for them, and I've tried, it doesn't work for me. Well, so what? It worked for them. Try not to get super emotionally invested in what you're watching people do with makeup. It's just makeup. It's not that serious. There are a ton of way more serious things in this world than makeup. But again, I just have to reiterate, do what works for you. It's so important that you're true to yourself, that you find techniques, brands, products, application, the whole 9 yards, but that it works for you. And I want you to be happy with how your makeup looks, regardless of what anybody else tells you or shows you. Number 9, avoid negativity. There is a lot of negativity here on this platform, a ton. And just in the makeup space in general, there just is a lot of cattiness, a lot of backbiting, a lot of really like underhanded, backhanded things that are said. And I just ask that you try to avoid it. I mean, if that's really what you're into, if you're into the negativity and the cattiness and the tea drinking, tea sipping, drinking the spilling the tea, whatever it's called, however they say that, however the kids are saying it nowadays, then okay, that's your choice. But I don't know. I just think it's so unnecessary to have negativity surrounding something that I think should just be really fun. There's no need for it to get as negative as it gets. And I also think that, how do I say this? When you hear people being real negative and real catty, don't support that. I mean, I'm not into cancel culture. I would never come on here and bash a particular creator or brand or product or whatever. I'm not ever going to do that. But I've just learned that there are some people in this realm that I just cannot stomach supporting. I can't do it. And it's the real negative folks. I just can't do it. There's no need to put other people down. There's no need to bash how other people do their makeup. None of us are experts here. I really don't believe that. Even if you have a degree in makeup application, I really don't think any of us are really experts because it's such an individualized thing, putting your makeup on. And so, yeah, I just ask you that if you are hearing and seeing a lot of negative stuff coming from a creator, jump ship, bail out, don't support that. Because I really would love to see this platform, YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, the makeup sphere, become very positive and very encouraging for everyone. For everyone. Okay? I don't think that's too much to ask. I think we can all pull together and support positivity and chuck out the negativity. And then number 10, the last one here, have fun. That's what is so important about makeup, and such a great component of makeup is the fun that it is, you know? I know it can get discouraging, like I've talked about. It can get discouraging when you can't do certain things, or you try certain things that doesn't work out, or your makeup doesn't look like the professional person that you're watching. But you know what? Who cares? Just have fun. The beautiful part of makeup too is that it comes off. If you don't like how your makeup looks, take it off. Start again. Maybe start again the next day. Give it a couple days, a week, whatever. But just keep coming back to it. Connect with yourself while you're putting your makeup on. That's another thing that is really wonderful and fun about makeup, is just spending that time with yourself, kind of centering yourself, I don't know, kind of getting ready for your day. It's just such a wonderful thing. It's wonderful. But yeah, I really feel that makeup needs to be fun, and don't take it so seriously. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the fun that it really, I believe, is meant to be. Okay, so that was my big long spiel lecture about the 10 things that I think are the most important when you're first getting started in makeup. If you're a creator and you happen to be watching this and you have some other things you'd like to add to the 10 things that I brought up in this video, list them in the comment section. Would you please? Like, let's give as many beginners as many helpful tips and suggestions as we possibly can. I think that'd be really fun. So yeah, go ham in the comment section letting me know other things that you would have added to this video in terms of suggestions or ideas for beginners in makeup. And I do hope this was helpful for you guys. I really do. Some of it might have been kind of convoluted and maybe around Robinson's barn, as my mother would say. But I don't know, wanted to touch on some things that I felt were really important for me, learning and discovering and thinking about and contemplating as I was first getting started in makeup. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.